up? It's your boy, Robert Littal, BlackSportsOnline.com. Shout out to the Daily Schneeze for requesting this interview from me. You know, I'm not too shy about being in front of the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. We'll try to keep it entertaining for you. Not too long, but you know, I got to give love to the Daily Schneeze and to all the people that are watching this right now. So let's check this out. First question they had for me was, how did Black Sports Online get started? It's actually an interesting story. Back in the day, I was actually selling car insurance. I had graduated from The Ohio State University. I was in the music business for a little bit, was trying to be a rapper, wasn't actually working out. So I found myself actually selling car insurance a couple of years after graduating from college. But of course, my degree was in journalism. I always wanted to get started in sports media. But at that point, I just didn't know how to, get my foot in the door. Well, anyway, I was watching a NFL wild card game. You may recall it was the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Back in the day, it's infamous for the Randy Moss fake mooning incident. Where he caught a touchdown to win the game. Basically, he mooned the crowd in Green Bay. Joe Buck called him a thug, among other things. Went really over the top with it. At that point, I was like, you know something, I need something to start up something so my voice can be heard, because I was just so tired of the hypocrisy that was going on in the media, the way people in the media was twisting things. There wasn't a lot of African Americans in the media at that time, especially online, to give a different perspective. It was mostly Caucasians at that time. So I wanted to give a perspective as a young black man on what was going on with sports, because in some regards, some people can't relate to these young athletes like I can, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's actually how the whole thing, started from that point. Next question they had for me is, for you, how important was it to start something like Black Sports Online? Well, it was very important to me, just kind of like I was saying, because at that time, there wasn't a lot of, black voices in the media, especially in the print and web-based type of media. You had your people on ESPN, your Stuart Scott. You had your major people in broadcast media, but when it came to print, it wasn't a lot. I mean, we were kind of like an endangered species. So I felt sometimes when these incidents, or when they were talking about certain type of athletes, it was hard for the people that were reporting on them to relate or to even understand, what was going on, because they don't come from the same places that these athletes come from, especially when, about 70% of the athletes, especially in the NBA and the NFL, are African American. So I thought it was very important that a voice was out there for them. Next question they had for me, have I ever gotten in trouble for anything you said on the site? Well, I do get threatened to be sued almost daily now, but in general, there's been a couple of situations that I've had in the past. One was actually a writer that I had working for the site, who actually had said some things about Oscar De La Hoya getting some naked back rubs, or some naked rubs in regards to his training before he fought Floyd Mayweather. And I guess it had got back to Freddie Roach at the time, and Roach had some pretty harsh things to say. I got some pretty harsh letters from Golden Boy. At that time, now I'm a lot more fickle about the type of people that I let write on my site. I wouldn't use the word trouble per se. I mean, we say things, we don't sugarcoat things. We say things, that we feel are true. We give our opinions based on the facts that we have of the case. Some athletes don't like that. I've had situations like when I was talking about Josh Smith throwing up gang signs and things like that. I even had problems with some people in the media speaking out on ESPN or any type of bias type of networking type of things, where people have come to me and told me not to say that. So in that regard, I wouldn't say trouble, but I mean, we tell it like it is. And when you tell it like it is, you're going to have a lot of pushback from time to time. Next question they have for me is, how do you think society perceives black sports players today as opposed to 10 years ago? I don't think they think of them any differently. What I think has happened is, in the last 10 years, is that the way the media has expanded, with the web-based media, stuff like TMZ, the gossip, the 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week coverage, all players are under a bigger microscope than they was 10 years ago. Things like the Michael Vick controversy and the Ben Roethlisberger controversy, those type of situations may have been swept under the rug 10 years ago. You can't even go outside if something's going on. There's always someone with a camera phone or a camera, video, someone, paparazzis all around, And if they find out, you can be a YouTube sensation in, in less than 24 hours. So I think it's not necessarily how society perceives black sports players as 10 years ago. Is that they see more because the media overall, from web-based all the way up to broadcast, just has a bigger spotlight on people. What do I think about the current controversy surrounding Tiki Barber? Well, in particular, I don't like Tiki Barber. I think he's fake, and and I believe in karma. And when you do things, it comes back around to bite you sometime. I mean, I don't really, in general, have any issues with him cheating on his wife or anything like that. I mean, that was a personal type of situations, but the fact is I don't feel bad that he got fired because he decided to cheat on his wife, but he cheated on her with an intern that that worked at NBC. You don't do that type of stuff in your workplace. He had it in his contract that it was a morality type of issue in the contract, that if he did these type of things and it got out in the open, that he could be fired. So that's on him. But like I say, you reap what you sow, and karma comes back on people who think they're a little bit smarter than everybody else. Let's see. There's an age-old saying that athletes and cheating are synonymous. Why do you think so many athletes become involved with these type of scandals? Well, it's simple. You have to look at it like this. When they're not playing, you have a lot of free time. Normally, you're talking about young guys. You're talking about a lot of money. You're talking about a lot of available, women. It's just, the mix is just as such, that's gonna happen from time to time. You put any man in that type of situation, regardless if he's an athlete or not, where he has a lot of free time, a lot of money, and a lot of women available to him, and he doesn't really have to do anything to get those women to come to him. There's going to be a possibility that there's going to be some sort of problems, especially if you're married, especially if you're dealing with some young ladies that are unstable or groupies or gold diggers. You're going to have to accept that drama. That's why we ask for athletes just to be a little bit more smarter about, who they're just, breaking lamps with, because, each person that you deal with, you just don't know them very well. Let's see. How accepting do you think the black community will be of a black female sports player in comparison to their male counterparts if, say, Lisa Leslie was accused of being unfaithful to her spouse when she was in her sports prime? That's a very good question. Unfortunately, we just don't care. I hate to be blunt. Well, I don't hate to be blunt. Sometimes you just got to be blunt with it. When it comes to female athletes in general, or female sports in general, just too many people don't care. If I'm not mistaken, Cheryl Swoops, I believe, left her husband for another woman. And not most people, know about that. So it's not even necessarily about how the black community would feel about it. It's just about that in general. If we don't care about something, regardless of what the situation is, we're not going to pay much attention to it. People get murdered, every day. But, when it was an OJ murder, then, more people care about it. I don't think it would be any different just in the fact that no one would care about it, basically. Let's see, next question here. Do you feel there are enough schemes to get kids involved in sports? I think so. A lot of that goes to the parents. I think it's out there for these kids to get involved in sports. But a lot of times when you're dealing with single parents, especially in the black community, dealing with single mothers, single dads, it's hard for them, when they're working two jobs and trying to, keep food on the table, to also, get them out playing baseball and putting them in youth leagues and things of that nature. That's why we need, to be honest with you, we need more guys, standing up, even if you don't, have a child, be a big brother, do something to help these kids stay off the streets, and going down the wrong path. Because when you're young, even when you're young, you still can make your own decisions. And a lot of times these kids come to a fork in the road and they go toward the wrong way because that's where they see the money, that's where they see the cars, that's where they see the women. Get them going toward the other way where they can see a little bit more of a future. And finally, what advice would you give someone that's being bullied? Well, what I've learned over the years, and this is kind of a blanket type of statement, bullies don't like to be pushed back. A lot of times bullying is just off of reputation. So if someone is bullying, you stand your ground. You don't have to get into any type of violent type of activity. You don't have to fight, but stand your ground. Tell them that you're not going to take it anymore. If they got a problem with you, they need to step up to you face to face. Say it with some bass in your voice, and you'll be all right. Once again, thanks to the Daily Schnees for getting this interview in for me and requesting it. Check out blacksportsonline.com. You know how we do. It's your boy Robert Littal. I'm out.